Good morning, ladies and germinators. It's almost afternoon with a time change, but it's still morning on Sunday, March 10th, 2019. Welcome to the second installment of LICNY's weekly podcast. At least I hope to do one every week. I certainly think we'll have enough ammunition every week. And really, that's what I'm here for, to provide you with ammunition for your daily conversations, for your daily interactions with others when it comes to cannabis and cannabis issues, to demystify the plant and everything surrounding it, and to, again, give you ammunition to answer back the reefer madness fables that still are pervasive after nearly 100 years. So group members very often send me links, and I really appreciate that because I'm only one person and I can't find everything. But here's something came in from local news. Maybe it was Monday, and I thought I'd play it for you in its entirety, and then talk about it a little bit. Check it out.
It should be legalized, and they're looking to states where it's already allowed to see just how it's working. Tonight we begin a series of reports from Massachusetts where anyone ages 21 and older have been able to buy the drug since January. News Channel 9's Andrew Donovan makes the trip across the border where people line up to light up.
This line of people is reminiscent of Black Friday, but this is an ordinary Wednesday, and the color on their minds is green. Dozens waiting in the cold to buy marijuana the minute the store opens. Why line up on a Wednesday?
I live in town, so it's convenient.
Locals in line, like Chris Grace, are no surprise. But look at the license plates in the parking lot. Many come from much farther away than Massachusetts, Connecticut, New Jersey, and New York.
Why cross the border? Why come to Massachusetts?
Legal weed. That's about it.
That simple?
Yeah.
Robert Reynolds drives in from Dutchess County twice a week. He has a favorite flavor, but the creatively titled Bud Tender at the counter introduces him to new varieties.
Before they opened here, before you had any legal options in Massachusetts, what did you do?
What everyone else did. Went to the corner.
And are you happy that that is no longer what you have to do?
Yeah.
Did you feel like it makes it safer?
Yeah.
Cheaper?
No. Not cheaper. Safer.
Similar questions are being asked just over the border, inside New York's state capital, where the governor's proposal to quickly legalize recreational marijuana is getting mixed reviews.
What's your general position on legalized marijuana in New York?
I think it's a good idea for economic reasons, but mainly for social justice reasons. I think marijuana has been used for way too long as an excuse to put especially young men of color in prison.
Just look at the two state senators.
Okay, brace yourself
to see the political split.
But you can drink a glass of wine with your macaroni and not get wasted. You can have a beer with your chicken wings and not get drunk. I don't know that there's any other purpose to smoke dope other than to get wasted. And then on top of it, to just go after our citizens' pocketbooks because the state is strapped for cash and legalize this, in my opinion, for pretty much one reason and one reason only, which is tax revenue, I think is just despicable.
Well, have you been following the debate in New York to legalize it there?
Nah, I figured they'd do it sooner or later.
But that's the question. Will it be sooner or later?
Thank you very much. You too.
In Great Barrington, Massachusetts, Andrew Donovan, News Channel 9.
So, there you have it. How about Mr. Antonucci? What do you think? Smoke dope. Get wasted. That's all we do. We just get wasted. It's so frustrating to hear actual people we've elected talk like that, isn't it? As if no one can responsibly use cannabis. Thing is, we can. We do. Thousands of medical marijuana patients use it every day. Hundreds of thousands use it for wellness every day. We're not wasted. Not at all. So there was some other news this week too. Let's check out another one here from the New York Daily News. New York still rolling towards legalizing recreational marijuana as lawmakers prepare for budget talks. So this is kind of interesting because this one reveals a little bit more of what the governor is thinking. And here's where he is at this point. He really wants it to happen in the budget. Which will mean it happens by April 1st. I believe it will pass. If we don't get it done by the budget, I think it's in trouble. See, he's posturing there. He really wants to have it his way. And I don't know how you feel about it, but his way isn't as favorable as we would like it to be. His budget proposal isn't as favorable as we would like it to be, especially when it comes to home cultivation, which is very important to a lot of people, particularly in upstate New York, where we can do it. We have been doing it for years, under the table and under the radar, so to speak. But it looks like he really wants to get it done in time for the budget. I don't know how you feel about it. I'm kind of on the fence. On one hand, I'd love to see it done by budget time. Of course, the sooner the better. But we really want that home cultivation component to be more robust and to back up a little bit. The governor's proposal when it comes to home cultivation is that only patients would be allowed to cultivate cannabis at home, and only patients would be able to grow 4 plants. And to do that, you would have to apply for and receive a permit to do so. I think that's pretty short-sighted, and I think it misses the very, very point that we're fighting for, in opposition to the idea that it's all about taxation and how the government is going to collect and spend our money. For myself and so many people I know, the issue is freedom, plain and simple, freedom. Freedom to engage a plant, freedom to use a plant as we see fit. So that should include freedom to grow the plant with reasonable restrictions and with responsible precautions. We should be able to grow that plant for our own personal consumption and our own use on our own property, in our own home grow rooms, if we so desire. We should be able to do that. And the governor's proposal, I think, is much too restrictive. Other legislation that's been in the pipeline for years, Liz Krueger's and Cynthia Peoples-Poole's legislation, is more focused on the racial side of things, reparations for neighborhoods and people of color who have been unfairly persecuted and prosecuted for decades upon decades with bad marijuana law and bad drug law. But along with those proposals and in their legislation is also a more robust home cultivation scenario. I believe it allowed for 8 plants, up to 12 in a residence if there are 2 adults growing, and it's just much more robust and much more fair, and it addresses the freedom. The freedom for us to use the plant as we see fit. So we're not sure which of the proposals will actually make it for a vote. It looks like the governor's really pushing for his, and I know that Liz Krueger and Cynthia Peoples-Poole are both pushing for theirs. So let's see where it lands. Maybe there's a compromise somewhere in there. Let's certainly hope so. But that's where we are, and I don't know, it seems to me somewhat dangerous because we are seeing the opposition come out stronger. And I got a lot of calls, and I got a lot of messages, excuse me, from group members on that. Whenever it happens, law enforcement has been out in force, not only locally, then they took their brigade to Albany, and they had their little get together there just to come out and tell us, how people are going to die and it's a terrible thing and the sky's going to fall, which we know is not going to happen. So it comes down to this, and this is what I repeat to the members most of the time. We either have the votes or we don't. It's that simple. All indications are that we do, but I would be reticent if I didn't advise a little bit caution with the opposition coming out as strongly as they have lately. We don't want any of those votes to change or to flop on us. So maybe it is better to accept what the governor proposes, and at least we will have gained freedom in that cannabis will no longer be illegal to possess. And we may not get the home cultivation we want right away, but that doesn't mean we won't get it eventually. When you look at other states, of the 8 or 9 other states so far that have legalized, only one, when they legalized for adult recreational cannabis, only one did not allow for home cultivation. That was the state of Washington. That was a couple of years ago. And oddly enough, the state of Washington is now rectifying that. They are now adding home cultivation to their marijuana law. So if New York didn't allow it, that would make us the only state that does not allow home cultivation. So that's important. That's something we want to remain focused on, and I certainly do hope we get it. Let's follow down through here a little more, see if we're missing anything. Yeah, as I said, Assembly Majority Leader Crystal Peoples-Stokes from Buffalo, along with Liz Krueger, has sponsored several bills over the past 6 years that decriminalize marijuana. See, that's what I mean. That's what I mean when we say we either have the votes or we don't. We've had legislation in the pipeline for 6 years. And that's part of what's going on with the opposition. They weren't coming out against the legislation so strongly until now because, did I mention? We have the votes. See, if we didn't have the votes, there'd be nothing to argue about. There'd be nothing to talk about. So I really hope we can just get this done once and for all. So that's about all we need to say about that particular piece. Here's some encouraging news, because not always bad news. Take a look. That's right. And we're not talking just about other states where cannabis is legal. Higher education colleges add cannabis to the curriculum. Well, why wouldn't they? You see, when you have a multi-billion-dollar industry in any state, whether it's sanctioned by the federal government or not, people are working. People are getting up every day, working a hard day's work for a hard day's pay. And so if a multi-billion-dollar industry is coming into your state, it behooves colleges certainly then to help train a workforce for that industry, doesn't it? So locally, and we'll scroll down to the bottom here if I can see it, it includes SUNY Morrisville. That's right, Morrisville is a SUNY college, southern part of Madison County. And they're starting a minor in marijuana and hemp. And they've been growing hemp there for a little bit already, so they're already forward-thinking. But it's a wonderful thing, and it also is encouraging to think that if a New York State SUNY college is offering a course of study in cannabis, then probably pretty likely they're expecting cannabis to be legalized in New York. However, other articles I've read about Morrisville College indicate that there are certainly a good number of out-of-state students that go there, and they too seek that kind of education. So Morrisville's right on the money to do it. I think we had one more. No, those three were it, for this week. I didn't play and sing for you this week, because some weeks you feel it and some weeks you don't. So this is one where I didn't. But that's kind of where I see things going. I really encourage you folks to keep giving me calls or keep posting on the Legalize It CNY group page. Remind your friends, for those of you, and I know we all have friends and family who, for whatever reason, and they're very understandable reasons, can't join our group, because when you join our group, and boy, I admire you folks who do, because you put your name and you put your picture on it and you show your support, and that takes some courage and commitment. So bravo, to all of us. But that doesn't mean we slight the people who don't or who can't. When you consider people who work for the federal government, who may have security clearances, law enforcement, teachers, just who have jobs where their bosses would frown upon them being in a group like ours. There's a way they can watch the podcasts every week. Just go to Gary Colmey, that's my name, GaryColmey, on YouTube, because I'll put the videos up on YouTube every week and share them on Facebook as well. And down the road, I hope to, distribute it through more traditional podcast channels too, and maybe expand it. But really, this is meant for Central New York folks, particularly Oneida, Madison counties. We've got some folks up in Jefferson County, and I know some in Onondaga County too, Herkimer County too. But predominantly, it's Central New York, LICNY. If you were to find the center of New York, I believe it lands right in Rome where we are, maybe right in the middle of this podcast studio. I don't know. So. And again, let me remind you that the LICNY podcast is brought to you by, I know, but this is business too. And the business is what houses my little podcast studio and enables me to do this for you. So I humbly ask that you do support Gary's Music Store, Gary's Music right here in beautiful downtown Rome in the Arts District, and right across from the Capitol Theater. In the back of the store is also gigs, and it's more than just getting musicians work. There's too few of those around anymore. But gigs is the acronym for Gary's Indoor Garden Supply, where I do sell indoor garden supplies. Got a pallet of ocean forest potting soil out there, along with some cocoa coir, growing medium. Let's talk about that. You folks have been reminding me, man, you really have to have a lot of CalMag, calcium, magnesium supplements on hand. I know I'm getting into the weeds a little bit here for the growers, but you know what I'm talking about. I have a full line of General Hydroponics and General Organics nutrients. I have lighting, air filtration, odor control, cloning supplies, grow tents, scrog netting, pH, TDS meters. So come check me out. We've got some stuff to help you grow. Also, for you Legalize It CNY folks who've been asking, you can see what I'm sporting, my brand new LICNY t-shirt. We just got those in. I love this logo. I have to recognize graphic artist John Kelsey, who not only designed the logo on the shirt here, but the Legalize It CNY logo on the website. But I do have these. Here's V-neck for the ladies. Cool. Regular t-shirts for the guys, or ladies, or whomever. Got a lot of them in, so we're gonna sell those for a total of $20. That's $18 plus tax, whatever it is. I'll figure it out, but it's going to be a $20 bill, and that helps me to buy more T-shirts. Hopefully, to buy more of these, and we gave away 1,000 of these last year. That's right. LICNY wristbands. I get a kick out of it when I'm out and about people see it. I always try to wear 2 or 3, and they'll say, cool bracelet, and that's my cue to take it off and give it to them. So I encourage you to do the same thing. We'll sell you those for $1 if you want them. If you don't have $1, I'll give them to you. But again, throwing $1 in the jar helps me to buy more. Legalize at CNY is an offshoot of Gary's Music, gigs, Gary's Indoor Garden Supply. And so the things I buy and resell are part of my business. But as you know, I'm a hardcore advocate. And I hope this podcast continues, and I look forward to having some guests on. Speaking of guests, I did mention that I spent the better part of an hour with a county legislator here. I'm still not going to reveal his name because he's going to come in. We're going to work together. But we do have a county legislator who's squarely on the side of legalization. Not only is he squarely on the side of legalization, but he is committed to bringing cannabis here to Oneida County, as I am. And because he's a county legislator, he has the ear of our county executive, and that's the gentleman we're going to have to work on, or I don't like the term use work on, because he is also a reasonable and fair man. Anthony Pacenti is our county executive. He has indicated that he's not for legalization. Okay, there's a lot of government officials who are personally not for it. But I did hear him, and again, I'll thank another group member for sending it to me. A group member sent me a radio interview where Mr. Pacenti did lament that he doesn't see where opting out of the cannabis industry for Oneida County would be beneficial to Oneida County, because once we have legalization, and he seems to admit and realize we're going to have it, once we have it, it will be legal to possess for every resident in Oneida County. Hopefully it will be legal to grow responsibly and reasonably for at least some of us, if not all of us. So he realizes that the only thing you can opt out of is tax revenue. That's all. If you don't allow it to be sold in your county, then you do not get any benefits of the sales in any county. So, and nor are you able to opt out of people using it. So it really is a ridiculous thing to opt out of. And for anyone to say it's a quality of life issue, that's ridiculous. I've heard that quite a few times, and I don't really want to repeat where it comes from. So all that being said, where are we? We're about almost 25 minutes here, so close enough. I didn't have a whole lot to say, and like I said, I just wasn't feeling it to play and sing for you. And that's just something I'm going to do sometimes because my instruments are here in the studio too. But once again, y'all, thanks for tuning in. Please tell your friends. I hope to do this, like I said, every week. It's fun. It's informative, I hope, for you. I hope I give you some ammunition to pass along to other people. I welcome your comments. I welcome your criticisms. I hope I recorded this one a little hotter, so those of you with iPhones that mentioned, gee, on full volume it wasn't quite loud enough. That's something I'm rarely accused of, not having a big mouth. So I hope you can hear it well this time. And until next time, this is Gary Colmy, right here from Legalize at CNY Podcast Studios, here in downtown Rome's beautiful Arts District. Thanks a lot, y'all. Peace and pot.